This is the sign I use most frequently, especially at the end of all the videos, etc. And it's on this lovely piece of, I don't know what you call this, Waney edge, live edge, WAD that came from our pull. In fact, there was two. There was that, what he brought over, and then there was the one that we used for the boathouse coat hook. And off the end of, where are we? Off the end of that one, yeah, right. I made that for the Louvre gallery. Yeah, okay, I know it's a bit cheesy, but this is where, in here, we have a lot of the artwork and stuff. You see, in the Louvre. So what I wanted to do was make a larger one of those. There you go. But I wasn't too sure the best way to do it. Anyhow, I got given some rather large pallets. So I stripped the slats off these and then cut some others down and screwed them to the back and glued them. So that gives me quite a large wooden canvas, if you like. You're right there, mate. Good. Large wooden canvas. Now, because I'm going to route the lettering in, I did originally construct this by putting screws in the back. That's quite a while ago, and glue. So screwed and glued, belt and braces. But I then thought, because I'm going to be routing on the other side, the router bit is likely to hit some of the screws. So what I've done now is I've just taken all the screws out and I've drilled it with an 8mm drill bit and then got some dowels and glued some dowels in. You can see from it, oh no, it's rubbish. I'm not a very good filmmaker, am I? Just as an added strengthy bit, and because they're glued in as well, the glue will make the dowel expand, so it'll be a nice snug girth in the hole. Incorrigible. And then I've just been cutting them off with this little sort of like pull flat chop saw, and it don't look right bad. You'd never really know from a distance. So that's now ready for me to flick over and start getting some lettering on to chop out a new sign. Not quite sure how well it's going to work. We will see. It's really hard being you, isn't it, Marley? Oh, is it? Is it difficult being you, laying in the sun, waiting for biscuits? Oh yes. Right, back soon. I've turned it over to right side, and it's 2.4 meters by roughly 30 centimeters, 0.3 of a meter. In fact, a little bit less than that, I think. Yes, a little bit less than that. But so I'm going to work to say, well, the maximum size of the letters is going to be about 22 at the most, I think. So 22 centimeters by 2 meters, and that will leave me about 20 at each end, so that'll be all right. Let's see where we go with that when I sketch it up on computer. Now the problem is I can't remember what font I used to that, so I'm having a bit of a guess on here. So I've created a sheet of paper, if you like, which is the dimensions that we will need. So I guess what I might do now is just kind of print that out and see what it looks like. It'd be quite big, but I think we're we're on the way to having something usable. Let's see. It printed out onto 8 sheets of A4, which is probably about what I'd thought, and I printed it out with crop marks. So now I'm just going to guillotine it all down so that the edges match up. Now I'm thinking, if I do it not centered, but put it right up against the end there, I can cut this one off about here and perhaps lose the worst part, excuse me, of this warp, because I think the worst part is just this little bit here. So if I finish it here and then cut that off there, it won't be quite as warped. Is that right, Marley? Oh, look at you. What do you want? What? What do you want? What do you want? Do you want to tickle Tom? Bang! Ah. It's really hard being you during this lockdown, isn't it? Hey, what's that? What's that? Are you doing the scratchy scratchy? As I'm tickle tickle, you scratchy scratchy. Tickle tickle scratchy scratchy. What? Sneeze? No? Okay. That's the sorry. So that's where I'm at with this now. I think then that's what I'm going to do, you know. It doesn't have to be perfect along here because it has a kind of like a rusticy look to it anyway after it's all been routed out. And then you'll see what I'll do is I'll run a blowtorch inside here just to give it a darker look, and then sand it over and varnish it. But I think I'm going to go with this length. I know it's going to make it a little bit shorter, but that's not necessarily a problem. It will take that warp, I think, out of that end a lot better. Right, next I've got to glue that on. What? 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 Oh, you're covered in sawdust. That's my fault, isn't it? I'm going to have to give you a brush in a bit. Okay, look. It's glued in sort of on. Doesn't need to be perfect, which is just as well. Just watered down PVA wood glue. It's watered down, boom, on there. Give it a chance to dry off, which means I can go and have a coffee or a beer. Ooh, decisions. And then start getting the router on it. Well, that's the really messy bit. It's the bit I don't particularly enjoy. Do we, Marley? Because then I have to sweep up all the yard and throw all the sawdust into the canal, because apparently it's a good thing to do. I wouldn't have thought so, but apparently it is a good thing to put sawdust into the canal. God knows why. I don't think the fish use it to build houses with. So when that's dry, we start routing it out. That is very much not my favourite thing when making signs. It is about as messy as it gets, and I've brushed myself off. Next is to peel all this off, and what doesn't peel off then we wash off, but most of it will peel off quite easily. Oh shit, make a right mess. Oh, and then get the blowtorch on it to pick out the lettering and see how good my routering is. But I've got fizzy fingers now from the vibration from the router. It's not, I have to be honest, a very expensive one. It is from Aldi. It's a work zone one, but I've done all of my signs with it, so can't be that bad. but I don't think it's got the sort of hasn't got the sort of vibration protection you might get from a more expensive one. And that's one of the little wooden dowels that I put in because it would have hit the screw. So I'm glad I did that. All cleaned off. Took ages. Oh, so it did. Well, I should be honest, it took Charlotte ages. But I did then clean all the yard. I did that. Charlotte did that. What I'm doing now is the filling in the lettering with some old-fashioned ash. And do this one-handed. And it just adds really to the rustic nature. And like there where I've gone over a little bit, when I sand the outside of that down, it will add to the rusticness. Is that a word? Now this will be a completely mind-numbingly boring video if I just film me doing the rest of it. So I'll just pause for a moment until that's done. Okay, I've chopped that end off to balance it up with the other end. It's over there, the offcut. I might make a little floating duck house. There's some bits of sanding need doing. But I also decided while I had the blowtorch in my hand to frame it in a little bit. And when you burn wood like this, it brings out the grain really nicely. So I'm fairly pleased with that. Fairly pleased. In fact, that might well be the thumbnail for the video. I think it probably will be. Now, when I've finished, and as you know, like these bits need brightening up, just to bring out the lettering. So I'll sand that down tomorrow. It's still a little bit damp from washing it all down, but I think we'll put it down the side of the building here somewhere, because plenty of people, even though we're on this lockdown thing, plenty of people walk up and down Tollpath, so it pays to advertise. I think it'll have to go somewhere along the side of the building, or along the side of a boat, or something, or suspended from one of these maybe. Yeah, I don't know, think about that. Right, Delilah, good girl. Right, not a bad afternoon's work. That's taken, all in all, I reckon by the time I've finished sanding it down and I'll stick some wood preservative on there, I'm guessing about 6 hours. So commercially I would charge about 150 for a sign like that, which I think's all right. I don't think that's bad value at all. Materials, tenner, 160 quid. I think that would be all right. Okay, hope that's been interesting for you in my little series of sticking little videos up, which are marginally more interesting than Cash in the Attic or Bargain Hunt or whatever, Homes Under the Hammer. Till I'll spend most of my days, can't you? Right, that's it. Thanks for watching. If you like this rubbish, please subscribe. That would be really, really lovely. Yeah, I'm pleased with that.